The Durian Heat, bringing big ideas, critical opinions in Southeast Asia.
Who said Penang is not happening when it comes to creative industries? Well, it was bound to happen sooner or later. And there is this person who's from Penang who has been trying to create space or platforms for local musicians and songwriters to extend and also develop their art and to be able to deliver the excitement and love to the audience. So we have this special guest all the way from Penang. Welcome to DurianASEAN. Good morning.
Good morning and hello. How are you guys doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. Great. Thanks for calling.
Yes, no problem. It's our pleasure. And then his name is Kelvyn Yeang from Penang.
Hey,
clap. So Kelvyn, could you give us a little bit of your background and also perhaps what do you do and then who you are?
Right. I'm actually a guitar player from Penang.
Mm-hmm.
I play in a band called Ocean of Fire and various other projects as well. And I've been really involved in the Penang independent music scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I've, together with some friends, we've started a platform that's been ongoing for a while now. It's on our third year already. It's called IndiePG.
Mm-hmm.
And its main focus is to provide a space and a platform to showcase musicians who are writing original material and provide them with a place to network as well. So apart from teaching and performing as a professional musician, I'm also a dad. And like any other normal people, I guess...
You're also a father.
Yeah. And let's see. Like you said, I guess we're going to talk a little bit about my challenges with everything, right? So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
All right. Okay. So not only being a performer, you're also covering a lot of areas when it comes to music. You're also an educator, you're a performer, you hold your own workshop, and you even organize an event.
Yes, that's right.
So why do you do this in music industry in Malaysia? How did you start, and what was your inspiration?
I guess I'm just a really very driven person, and I do see a need for something to happen, and I do see a need that to create all these platforms and to educate people and to share my music and in general indie music as well. I guess it's just in my blood a little bit. It's in my character a little bit as well, because I think I'm a very driven person and I just can't sit still, so I just have to do something.
So you are pretty much a proactive person, I will say.
I think so, yeah.
Well, it sounds like your music experience is pretty in-depth. Perhaps you can share with us with your band that you mentioned, Ocean of Fire. How long has it been, and what's your role in the band other than being a guitarist?
As for the band, I think we've been together many years. Some of the members have changed. I can't exactly remember how long we've been playing together, but it's quite a while. I don't think it's a decade or anything like that. Definitely under 10 years, but it's definitely somewhere in the ballpark of 5 or 6, I think. Yeah, and what do I do in the band? I'm the leader of the band. So I guess it's apart from writing songs and the usual, I guess I sort of like co-manage the band a little bit.
So I'm sure when it comes to managing the band, other than taking care of the music part, it's a small business that you're starting up with, isn't it? It's like, managing your partners and even the co-members there. What was the difficulty when it comes to managing the band?
People being people, we're all human. And even myself, I'm not a perfect person or anything. So we just have to deal with characters all the time, and a lot of it has to do with learning and just growing as people. And being the bigger person, I guess, is one of the things that it's how do we put it? You know, you just gotta be the bigger guy most of the time. You know, you just gotta be the bigger guy. You can't take things too personally, and at the same time, certain things you must have add a personal touch to it for it to have any meaning at all. So it's a little bit crazy, but it's doable. I hope I answered the question correctly.
Yeah, well then let's go a bit deeper. Well, we just talked a little bit about managing the band, but music is an art. And when it comes to, well, I may be stereotyping, but when it comes to Asian countries, in the Asian context rather, music, when people still have this mindset of thinking of music is just an art. It's nothing to do with the business. It's always hungry, and people are always thirst for, you know, becoming, gaining the fame and becoming popular. So what's your perspective in this?
I just had a talk with a friend about this very subject that you're asking me right now. I guess what I can say is that there is money to be made, to be honest, in the entertainment industry. Of course, I think it'd be really, really, really difficult if anybody wants to achieve. I probably shouldn't say this on air, like, you know, but I mean, realistically speaking, I don't think it would be easy to reach, for many of us to be able to reach millionaire status, kind of like wealth, you know, that kind of money. Like, I mean, we all know that, you know, engineers get paid so much more, and doctors, you know, specialists, you know, they get paid so much more for their craft, definitely more than musicians. But if you think about it, musicians work way less than most office people, and they do get paid decently or pretty well as well. So, you know, it's a myth that musicians will always go hungry. It's how you look at it and what you do. In the creative industries like acting and like music, you know, there's many things that are very intertwined. It's very, very people. How do you put it? There's this it's very close knitted, actually, the art scene in general. And you can see that within this art community itself, there's so much opportunities. Although it might seem like it's niche, but there are actually a lot of opportunities present.
I see.
I guess the word here is diversifying.
Okay.
I guess most of us don't only do music, to be honest. Like, even full-time musicians, a lot of them, like, to fill up their time, they teach and they do all kinds of other things. But that said, you know, doing music like me, it gives you a lot of time to do many things. And I guess if you compare that to, say, like an office job or something, I think we are paid quite decently well. I must say this. And
but don't you think you mentioned shortly about the skills, crafted skills, and also, well, we mentioned about engineers, doctors, even lawyers. But don't you think musicians or artists in general, they also need to have a crafted skills, and it's a forever investment especially for artists to develop their skills to go further. So maybe the hardship comes from there, the myth that we said about the being hungry and also being thirst for something more. Perhaps it comes from there, because we need to always sustain ourselves and develop more and be able to compete each other.
The thing with being good, being great at what you do, there's no compromise to that. In everything that you do, whether you are going to be a musician or a painter or an, you know, graphic artist, you know, I don't think there is a compromise on being anything less than good. Because if people's going to pay you, you just got to be good, right? So I do believe that like being good with your skill set and constantly improving your skill sets are important. Now, the thing is that I guess the biggest challenge people face right now, based on this competitiveness, like you said, with the whole skill set things or whatever, is that whether there is a demand for your skill set.
Right.
Now, more often than not, you get a lot of musicians who are really, really good. You get great bass players and great drummers, and in the end, you hear people say things like, it's not what you know, but it's who you know, kind of thing.
Right.
It boils down to so much on connections, and all of a sudden it doesn't seem like your skill sets are worth anything all of a sudden. And I think the main dilemma that we face right now is that we have a lot of this. We do have a decent amount of supply, but I think we don't have as much demand as we would want, actually, I think. So yeah.
How about setting like basic wages for musicians? Let's say you hold, because they set the standard, like you hold this degree and you have this diploma or certificate or even the qualifications, then you will your basic wage start from this amount. Because when it comes to music, anyone can play music, and doesn't need to be those who holds a degree or even paper. They can just play music as long as they have passion and have vision, and they want to deliver their messages via in art forms. So do you agree with me saying we need to have a basic wages for those who actually want to pursue their career in music?
I guess the answer would be both a yes and a no at the same time, because the musical sphere is extremely huge, and you pay. I guess when you pay people, you are paying for a certain kind of result. You're paying for a result. You're paying for a product. So when people are good, people are good. You just know that people are good, and then you get the right people for the job. Like, for example, if let's just put it this way. Okay, you hear of a musician and he or she has got like a reputation. I mean, you want him or her for what she does, and you know about his or her craft, and you're going to be paying her for that. And she's good, he or she is good, and whatever price that she commands, you'll be paying her for that, or him for that anyway. So I think at that point, really it's not so much on paper qualifications.
Right.
But then again, there's also a different sphere when it comes to like teaching in, say, a university, or teaching in lecturing in a college. I mean, people are. I mean, let's be realistic. Sometimes when it comes to situation like that, then people always question your credibility. Because you want to be a teacher, what's your credibility to be a lecturer, It's actually a mindset, For me, there's always something to learn from everybody. Even me right now, I can learn from my students, I can learn from different people, because you can't possibly know everything, right? But we do have a mindset, a lot of people actually have a mindset that, that, hey, automatically that, for a person to be credible, they must have the necessary credentials to be. Then only they would listen to that person. But that does not quantify to whether that person can or is a good teacher, right? Because I mean, it's qualifications and then skill sets are just very different things. But yes, that, like I said, it's both a yes and a no answer. It's important depending on what you want to do. You got to be prepared. So when you jump into a certain kind of field, then there would be certain expectations that will be required of you. So it helps. It definitely helps. If anybody would ask me that, hey, Kelvyn, is it important to be schooled to get your papers? I'd say definitely go for it. There's nothing you can lose. You have all these. It will just help you. Will help you in many areas that you might not see it now, but it will just continue to help you. Like, I can't see anything bad or detrimental from getting some qualifications and being qualified. If anything, I guess it just improves your job scope and allows you to be able to work in a more diversified spectrum, lah. You know.
Right. So that was quite a depth answers, and we'll just take a very short break, and we'll come back. And for the second segment, we're gonna talk about IndiePG.
The Durian Heat, bringing big ideas, critical opinions in Southeast Asia.
That was Funny Blessings by Kelvyn Yeang. And welcome back to DurianASEAN. You're still with Grace and also Kelvyn from Penang.
Yay! Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So, like we mentioned before, we'll talk about IndiePG. I really want to know, how did you start and how did you come up with the idea of organizing this event?
Okay, basically, in Penang, we have a few gig organizers and people who are already really involved in the scene anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So one day, together with my good friend Reggie, and he's also an organizer. I mean, he does organize some shows in Penang.
I see.
And he's from a different scene. All of us, we work together in very different scenes. But one day, we pitched the idea of coming together and doing something on a much larger scale.
Mm-hmm.
And so that we can put all our resources together and maybe come up with something cool. And that was how IndiePG was born. And we've been doing it ever since.
So how long has it been? When did you start?
When did I start? Oh, sorry, I'm straight from the question. I think it's we are on our third year already.
Very good. So
good.
Let's just track back to the first year when you organized the event. What was the difficulty? Because was that the first time that you organized something like that in Penang?
Actually, I've organized other events as well. I mean, other gigs as well. But
Right.
I guess this one was a little bit special and different because and significant as well, because we've got some really respected people coming together to work together to make this thing happen.
Uh-huh. So was it more like experimental project?
I won't say experimental as in cause with wow, that's a good question actually. It's something a lot of us actually wanted to do in a long time already.
I see.
But haven't got the chance to actually sit down and make it happen.
Uh-huh.
So we finally found the time and was able to pull this off. And of course we had the usual challenges with how we're going to go about selecting the bands and securing the venue and stuff like that, the usual things.
Yep.
And with very limited resource pool as well. So basically we had to run and do everything on our own. We've got a team of people helping us as well, but a lot of the times we ourselves are pretty much hands-on. So from the promotions to get to everything, basically we are like when it's on the final 2 weeks before IndiePG event actually takes off, all of us are usually on the road rushing and doing a lot of things, and it's like we are pretty much hands-on. So I guess that's one of the main challenges, to find the time to be able to pull all of that off and juggle that together with family and our own obligations to our businesses and stuff.
Right.
So yeah.
Then when you started this event, how did you vision this event? As in obviously you wanted to provide platforms for indie musicians, especially in the event, especially in Penang, to be able to bring up another color, to add more colors to Penang culture in the creative industry. But what was the other visions that you probably saw when you started this event?
Well, for one thing, we want to provide not only a platform just for musicians to play, but of course a little bit to educate the people as well on different spheres of independent music and being an independent musician. That's why we have workshops.
So could you elaborate more on the workshops?
We have different clinicians and people conducting the workshops coming in every single IndiePG. These workshops are happening at the same venue, and they are free. So anybody can walk in, and we've covered all kinds of areas, from like guitar playing itself to music production to conditioning of acoustics of the rooms.
Wow.
And to even songwriting. And we've got Joe Loy, we talked about songwriting. You know, we've got Audio Technica to come in to teach people about audio production. We've even got Orita Sinclair from Singapore to come in to talk a little bit about pursuing a career in music. We've got the Cat Studio. They've come over and talked about music marketing and how to use the internet as a tool. There's also so much more actually, and all these are actually free. So it's not just like bass playing or guitar playing, but it covers many different spheres. On occasion, if we get the opportunity or when we are invited, we gladly go into schools to talk about these kind of things as well to the kids, you know. And we try our best to actually get it out there to show people that, you know, it's a cool thing to do music, and there are many things you can do with music in general. And we have all these workshops for free. All these clinicians, they've been a big help to us, and to the people as well. And I have to thank them so much, you know. And it's free. It's free. I guess that's the most important thing, you know. Like people like and we're giving out free things, you know. Yeah.
Well, I may be a bit sarcastic here, but Malaysians love free stuff.
They do.
But
yeah.
My question here is, how do you find out people's need when it comes to music, and also how do you create the topic for a workshop? Because workshop can cover many areas when it comes to music, of course. And how do you choose the topic according to what people really need at the current situation?
Well, of course, we ask people from time to time, but it also helps because a lot of us, organizers are musicians ourselves, and we do understand what needs to be done. We also do understand the areas that need, you know, that needs all these exposure and to demystify certain things and to help people. So we do know the spheres that we need to look at, definitely. So of course, it's a little bit from experience, and it's a little bit from asking people ourselves. So we ask people from time to time, so what do you think we should do for this coming IndiePG, you know? What do you want to see? You know, we randomly ask people, because, you know, the musician circle, the music circle, and the enthusiast circle, we sort of know each other. Penang is a small state, you know, everybody knows each other, so it's pretty easy to go by.
I see. So let's talk about the Penang in depth in terms of support from the government, state government. How is it so far, and then do you plan to propose to them in the future?
I guess in the near future, we would definitely. The government has done a good job, I must say. I have not dealt with the government personally myself, to be honest, so I can't speak really in depth about that.
Right.
But I can see things happening around me in Penang. There's constantly a lot of things happening, and I know the government has some involvement in the funding of these things. As you can see, I mean, through social media and even the news and everything, and paper, in newspapers, you can see that, you know, there's a lot of things happening in the art scene in Penang. And I'm sure the state government is involved in many of these things and helping to fund some of these things. But of course, together with the private institutions, and they're working hand in hand, I'm very sure. And there are a lot of people doing a lot behind the scenes as well. I'm very sure of that. So yeah.
The major festivals that we can think of when it comes to Penang, it's Georgetown festivals, and we also have Penang Island Jazz Festival. And in addition to those festivals, we have IndiePG right now. It's been going on for about 3 years. So what is your perspectives when it comes to festival? And then off air, you mentioned that Penang is becoming more artsy than before. So it's actually a good sign to attract a lot of tourists also.
Yeah. Okay. I shall answer the artsy one first. Penang is definitely it's a beautiful place, and there's so much potential because there's just so much talent in Penang, and just the atmosphere and the place itself. You know, it's a UNESCO heritage, you know, place, and apart from having this charm about the island,
Yep.
And it's got really nice. It's just generally nice. It's just warm and nice, and it's just a nice place to host all these things.
Nice. And then?
And we've got recently we've got a lot of people coming up to do a lot of things for the state, and all of a sudden, you know, we see all these people emerging from the woodwork, all these artists, and it also attracts a lot of arty people as well.
Yeah.
To come and do a lot of things in Penang. So all of a sudden, there's just so many things happening in this small island, and yeah, it's just becoming more and more arty, which is good, you know, which is great.
So other than food becoming an icon from Penang, and creative industry could be the next one, you know, to food to represent Penang itself.
Sorry, again?
Oh, I was saying that Penang is very well known for food, but then now
yes.
with all this development and also support going on, a creative industry will be the next one to food.
Hopefully, I think if all things go well, we are positively moving in that direction. I might want to add that Penang, it's because it's like isolated, right?
Yep.
So it makes it unique in a certain way. It makes it unique, like the art form, you know, the everything is just it exists in a very unique way.
Right.
Like the people here are less. I believe, since I'm doing music myself, you know, and I when I travel to KL quite often as well, you know, and I listen to and I mingle. I know I have so many friends who are doing music and everything. I believe that the people in Penang are less inclined to follow any trends. I think, and that's a good thing. Well, it can be a bad thing in certain ways, but it's generally a good thing in a very unique sense. You know, like it's unique in that sense, lah. Basically, lah. You know, they're very much less inclined to want to follow any kind of trend at all when it comes to creating their art and pursuing their art form.
Nice. All right. So then, let's just go back to the topic about the IndiePG. How is in terms of submission from the musician in Malaysia? And I'm sure a lot of them are also from KL. But how about the Penang musicians itself?
Penang musicians, we got a small pool, and it's definitely a challenge. But we got to look at our objectives as well. You know, we want to get indie music to the people of Penang and create a platform in Penang that is recognized. Hopefully, you know, will be recognized in Malaysia for that matter. So it's not about just putting Penang musicians on stage or getting Penang musicians to share with Penang people, but to get people from out of town as well. So far it's been positive. We've got a lot of people coming in from KL, from all over to do, and I think this time we've got some submissions from Singapore as well. We can expect to happen in May. You know, you probably see some Singaporean bands as well.
That's great.
We've even got a submission from Germany, actually from a German duo who's going to be doing their brand of industrial electronica music, which is really cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. So it's not so much about just putting Penang people up there and creating a platform just for Penang people, but the platform exists for the Penang people as a whole to also, you know, to bring the world to Penang, you know, to just pretty much to bring everybody to Penang and share with everybody. It's always an eye-opener. Like, I've always loved the Penang Island Jazz Festival because it's the closest I can get to watching all these cool musicians play on YouTube. and
Yeah.
it's live. And you know, I like the people actually need to be inspired, and I find it really, really, really great of an opportunity when different styles and all these eye-opening acts actually are suddenly at your doorstep, and you have access to them. You can see them up close. You can actually get to experience the sound and the vibe and everything with it.
That's true.
Similarly, we want to do something like that for the IndiePG platform.
Mm-hmm.
Like Penang people have seen me play. Penang people have seen so many of the Penang people play already. Definitely would be great for them to see people outside of Penang as well.
But then playing music and watching artists playing music or performing is it's a common story. But then here, what I want to emphasize about IndiePG is this event supports the original music, original tunes coming from the bands. So I'm sure it's not so easy to step into the industry to support original tunes. And how did you overcome this hurdle, if I may say it's a hurdle?
It's definitely a hurdle, and it's a challenge that we continue to face and continue to fight and struggle with. That's also the reason why we have IndiePG.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be a need for this platform and for this place where people can network and do all kinds of things if it was easy to do indie music in the first place.
For sure.
Now, we just want to create this little safe place where people can come together, not only to just showcase, but to network and to share ideas, you know. And I also believe that one of the greatest challenges that indie musicians face is that there is a definite need, you know, there is a big need for an audience. It's always a demand and supply, isn't it, right?
Yeah.
Like, there is a demand for indie music, then indie music grows. If there's no demand for it, then you have to create demand for it.
Yep.
So, like, we believe that, you know, we want to reach out to a lot of the younger people and show them that this is a cool thing. And hopefully in the near future, these people will just bring in more people, and then, you know, we'll be able to create a new audience actually for indie music in Penang. Is it a hurdle? Is it a challenge? It's definitely a hurdle. It's definitely a challenge. It's really, 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 really tough. But that's not the reason why we should stop doing it. Even more so, we should carry on, because that's the reason why we should have a platform in the first place. When you see a need, you just got to fix it, right? So yeah.
Well, that's great, and then that's great to hear your passion in this event, particular event. So why don't we take a short break here?
The Durian Heat, bringing big ideas, critical opinions in Southeast Asia.
Welcome back to DurianASEAN, and you're still with Kelvyn, Yeang, and Grace. Hello.
Hello.
Right. So we actually did cover quite a wide range in Penang music scene. Now, what are the challenges being a musician nowadays? Let's talk about just the recent challenges that people are facing as musicians.
Many, I guess. Okay, like for example in Penang, we have a very limited amount of platforms. So I guess it's really, really hard to just be a full-time performer, because you know, most of us just end up having to diversify.
Right.
So that's one of the biggest challenges ever. Like, if you just want to just play, and just live off that, I guess you can as well. But more often than not, I think diversifying is probably one of the more safer options to do it. Yeah.
Especially financially, right?
Yes, definitely. I didn't want to say it, but yeah.
Well, that's the reality. But there are sessionists, full-time sessionists who just go for, you know, functions and all those gigs they can get from, you know, the music scene here in Malaysia. But some of them actually get bored of doing it over again, because they will be playing the same music, where they can actually rather they want to start their own music, but they just can't. They don't have time for it because of the fixed regular income.
Right. You know, the only way I think anybody can get out of that kind of a cycle or rut, it really, you got to owe it to yourself, you know. You got to find the time. You just have no choice. Like, even if you get stale playing the same things over and over again, like a lot of us musicians are actually very creative people. We always feel a need to want to do something original or to do something different. We just got to sit down and find that time, man. You know, we just got to sit down and really work it out and make it happen. It's not easy because, you know, of obligations that we already have. But I believe that's where that's why diversifying sort of allows this to happen. Like, I can't speak for other people, and I'm sure some guys who are the session players actually do enjoy what they are doing.
All right.
For some people, it's like this. They have their own businesses, and doing this session work is actually their side thing. So it's more of their fix. So they it's fine, you know, for them to play covers and stuff, you know, because they have other things that they are already looking at, and they have other things they are obligated to. But for example, if you are a full-time musician, like a full-time guitar player or drummer, I think it becomes a little bit, it's a different ball game when all you do is play drums or play guitar.
Yep.
Now it not only becomes it not only becomes your job, but I mean, because it overlaps with your passion, eventually you will find a need that, you know, to really get out there and do something different.
Yeah.
So in the end, it's all down to the musician on what he wants to do. Would he consider rearranging the music so he can have a little bit more fun, or he probably just needs to set aside some time to do his own things. Yeah.
That's also true. How about all this younger generation? Now, because of the social media development, they use a lot of platforms online, isn't it? YouTube, Facebook, or even SoundCloud, and they go even further into venturing themselves into different types of online platforms. What is your perspectives? Because a lot of them, if I'm not mistaken, they do want to post all these things to gain fame and a popularity, and also want to be acknowledged that about their talents and skills.
I believe that once all these platforms are available to you, you should use it. You know, it's free. Why not? You know, just use it. These are great platforms. How I wish I had YouTube, you know, back in my time when I was like still practicing my guitar. I had to figure everything out by ear, you know. I had to, you know, there was like a need for lessons, and it's so hard to find good teachers. And now everybody's got access, and not only just access, but a chance to just showcase what you do to the whole entire world, not just your country, not just to your neighbor or your friends. You know, back in our time, right? When we play, like, no matter how good we are, one of the biggest challenges is always to get your music out there. But now you have all this technology to help you. So why not? You should use it.
And a lot of people have been using it. At the same time, because of that, the competitiveness level has really risen really up to the sky. And then there are more people coming into to make use of this social platform. But how do you actually set the standard for people, you know, who are good or who are bad? Or even rather, let's not talk about good or bad musicians. How about being accepted by the audience?
That's a really, really hard question to answer, really. I feel that all these platforms exist for a reason. These platforms exist because we do have an audience that's constantly, you know, wanting to see things. So the platforms actually create a new demand for all kinds of things to happen, as you know, good and bad, and whoa, it's not an easy question to answer really.
Let's rephrase in a different manner. With the development of social media, how about those younger generations especially, they want to really, you know, because they have the accessibility is so much easier than before, so people get to compare this person covering this song and then this person covering the same song, and then sometimes the comments they get is very different, and then some people just get, you know, famous overnight. and whereas the same person wouldn't get, wouldn't that give perhaps the side effects, perhaps negative effects, rather than negative effects after using the social media?
If anything, I believe that social media actually helps the artists connect with more people, and it allows independent music and musicians to be independent. I mean, it gives the independent term a real life when in that sense.
Right.
How you want to get yourself out there is completely up to you. You don't need a record company anymore.
Yep.
I don't think that's a bad thing, because back in the days where certain kinds of music are accepted and certain kinds of music will never be signed, we don't have to worry about things like that anymore. You think it's cool, you can make a video, you can record a song, you can put it up there, and you can see if there will be an audience. But who knows, sometimes some magical things happen, and then you do get an audience, whereas before you would never could have imagined having been given that same kind of opportunity. So we see a lot of YouTube stars being created, and I don't think anything really bad. There are probably more positives than negatives coming up from all this. About the competitiveness, I think it's good. It's a good way to actually up the ante. It's like when you have all these things to see online, when you see how other people are doing it, it really makes you reevaluate yourself and reevaluate your art. And it just allows you so much exposure and to be exposed to other people, to be inspired and make yourself better. So I don't think there are more cons than pros, actually. I think it's there, it's good. We should use it.
That's actually a very inspiring answer. Well, you have been performing both in KL and Penang, also other parts of in Malaysia as well. But what are the differences in terms of scenes in Penang and KL?
Well, KL, of course, it's a much, but it's the capital, so it's a much larger scene. So there exists definitely more platforms and more musicians.
Yes.
Therefore, more bands, more music. In general, there's more of everything.
All right.
So Penang is very, very limited. It's very closely knitted, but at the same time, it's very, 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 very limited. So like a person like me who is from Penang, we see that there's a constant need to actually get out of Penang, because we just need to play to and share our music with different people. Penang is small, everybody knows who you are, and you do anything at all, you can't go that far, I guess, in just being on the island, in terms of wanting to share your music.
Right.
So you just got to get out there. Opportunities in KL, of course, but definitely because there are more platforms and everything. It's the business capital. There are definitely more space for many things to happen. But that's it. I also believe that there's a lot of potential to be tapped in Penang. We just need people to just slowly rise up and do more things. And hopefully, it would become something as well. Once, a long time ago, Penang was actually hailed as the musical capital of Malaysia. I believe, I've been told actually by some old-timers, we have bands like the Alley Cats and all. We have really, really good bands. And people come to Penang for music. And I think it can happen again. At least to offer, if not to offer, a secondary alternative to KL when it comes to music.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you did mention about the past and the present when it comes to availability, venues availability, and there are more platforms that are coming up in KL. But how about the Penang? Even though it's a limited space, are there any organizations or even the small restaurants trying to have create platforms for artists?
We do have some restaurants doing that and all, but it's really definitely not enough. You can count with this. Yeah, you can count it with your hands. So it's just too limited. Yeah.
All right. So then, is it one of the reasons that you constantly travel to KL to see and also to expand yourself in the music scene?
One of the reasons, definitely. And I've got a lot of friends in KL as well, and who are musicians, and I've been constantly in touch with them. And it's always refreshing for me to want to go to KL to be inspired, because even I need to be inspired sometimes.
Yep.
And I actually travel to KL to actually meet with all these people, and it's helped me quite a great deal actually when it comes to just doing music, and to inspire me and encourage myself to just continue to do what I'm doing right now. And of course, KL, there's more opportunities for playing and many things as well. So it's always good, to just get out of town once in a while to see the world.
We have almost reached the last segment of this interview. What is your advice or recommendations that you would love to deliver to upcoming musicians or even younger generation who want to pursue their dreams in music?
Well, I'm not going to tell them not to never give up on anything like that, because that's so cliche. But I must say this, there are two things, which is what you need to know, what you need to do, and what you should do, So basically, you should do what you really love to do. That's very, very, very important. But what you need to know, a lot of people are confused. It's like, like for example, okay, let me just put it in a nutshell.
Sure.
If you like playing jazz music, you should be playing jazz music because that's what you love to play.
All right.
But what you need to know is just not jazz music. You need to know everything, and you need to constantly be upgrading yourself, and you need to be constantly feeding yourself with a lot of information so that you can be in a know-how on things, not just on your craft. So that's it. We always have a dilemma when somebody says, "Hey, man, I like rock music, so there's no need for me to be learning jazz."
Yes.
So like I said, it's like there's a difference. You need to know the difference between what you should be doing and what you need to know. It's actually two different things.
Right.
So if you love rock, you should be playing rock. But what you need to know is like you need to know everything else. So having this knowledge actually helps you as a person. And I'm not just talking about musical knowledge when I say when you need to know. You need to know how the industry works. You need to know people. You just need to know your way around. So it's not just to focus on your craft, but to be constantly expanding yourself in all these other areas so that you just make yourself much better equipped. So yeah, I guess it's to realize that what you should be doing and what you need to know are two different things, and both are required actually.
That's very helpful advice. At the same time, how do people find you, Kelvyn?
Well, you can just look me up on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on almost all the social media platforms, I think.
Do you have Twitter?
I do have Twitter, but I'm not as active on it as I am on my Facebook and my Instagram, I guess. I do have a SoundCloud account as well. It's soundcloud.com/Kelvyn-Yeang. Then that's Yeang, KELVYN-YEANG. And then you can find me on YouTube as well, or you can just reach me, on the usual. I'm very active on Facebook.
So the easiest way is Google Kelvyn Yeang, and then you will see all his social media platforms.
Yeah, you could do that. Definitely. Yeah. But
and then
on Facebook.
And then other one is you have an upcoming performance that you have to travel back to KL.
I'm playing for the rock show this coming March. I think it's on the 19th, if I'm not wrong. It's the 19th of March in KL. I think it's on a Thursday. Yeah, and would be great because I'm dying to meet my friends in KL once more.
And also, what can audience expect from this performance?
Well, I play my own original compositions, which are guitar instrumentals, and I think I'm probably the only guy doing that on that night. So it's going to be something a little bit different, and I'm going to bring with you a little bit of our Penang vibe in the music to share with you guys. I've got some CDs on sale as well for those who are interested. Yay!
So let's book our day at the Laundry, right?
Yeah, it's a laundry bar, that's right.
It's at the Laundry Bar. So do expect this performance and see you.